The global spotlight has once again turned to Jungkook as he makes his way to New York. His appearance at the airport immediately triggered waves of speculation, not only because he was dressed head to toe in Calvin Klein, the brand he has been closely associated with for over a year, but also because his trip coincides with the upcoming Calvin Klein showcase during New York Fashion Week. Yet, what has made the situation even more intriguing is the sudden viral buzz about something else entirely: a possible solo tour project. Fans, media outlets, and even industry insiders are asking the same question: could Jungkook's journey to New York be tied to two major projects at once? The overlap between these two narratives, the Calvin Klein Fashion Week event and the rumors of a solo tour, has created a storm of speculation. For weeks, whispers about a potential solo tour had been circulating in fan communities, gaining traction on social media platforms like X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, and Weibo. At the same time, Calvin Klein had been teasing its presence at Fashion Week, with Jungkook's name naturally being pulled into the conversation. Now, with his physical presence en route to New York, the two narratives have collided, leaving fans wondering whether they are witnessing the beginning of something bigger than anyone anticipated. First, let's examine what is already known. Jungkook has been a global ambassador for Calvin Klein since early 2023. His campaigns with the brand redefined not only Calvin Klein's digital presence, but also its global sales trajectory. Every campaign he participated in went viral, dominating both fashion media and mainstream press. The visual language Calvin Klein adopted in these campaigns leaned heavily into Jungkook's duality: edgy yet approachable, bold yet relatable. This was not just a celebrity endorsement, it became a rebranding moment for Calvin Klein itself. Naturally, Calvin Klein's showcase at New York Fashion Week, September 12, 2025, has been anticipated as a key moment in the fashion calendar. Speculation that Jungkook would attend began months ago, with many regarding his presence as a near certainty. After all, Calvin Klein rarely wastes the opportunity to capitalize on such a powerful brand-artist synergy. However, it is the timing of Jungkook's trip to New York that has added fuel to the fire. He was spotted days before the official event, which some argue is unusual. Most celebrity attendees arrive closer to the scheduled showcase, unless there are additional commitments. This has led observers to suggest that his trip is not solely for Calvin Klein, but may also involve another significant undertaking, possibly connected to music. The idea of a solo tour for Jungkook has been circulating ever since he released his solo album Golden in 2023. The album performed exceptionally well on global charts, achieving success not just as a BTS member's release, but as a full-fledged entry in the competitive international music market. The singles, 7, Standing Next to You, and 3D achieved remarkable digital performance, and live stages at award shows showcased Jungkook's ability to carry performances on his own. For many fans, the logical next step was a world tour. Yet HYBE, Jungkook's management company, never confirmed such plans. Instead, he focused on selective promotional stages, collaborations, and appearances at international events. Still, rumors of a solo tour never fully died down, and recent weeks have seen a sudden surge in speculation. The timing of these viral rumors aligns almost perfectly with Jungkook's flight to New York. Online fan discussions have circulated screenshots claiming that venues in the US were being scouted for possible bookings, though no official confirmation has emerged. The overlap between these leaks and Jungkook's sudden departure has intensified curiosity. Could New York serve as the city where these tour discussions materialize, whether in the form of negotiations, rehearsals, or even teaser content creation? If Jungkook is indeed in New York for both Calvin Klein Fashion Week and solo tour preparations, it would not be surprising from a strategic standpoint. His career has increasingly blurred the line between fashion and music, with each reinforcing the other. Calvin Klein benefits from his musical dominance, and his music receives added visibility from his presence in high fashion spaces. By combining both projects in one trip, Jungkook maximizes global impact and media coverage. Moreover, Jungkook's management has shown a preference for multi-layered rollouts. For instance, his album release campaigns often included fashion shoots, interviews, and brand tie-ins. A dual-purpose trip to New York would align perfectly with this model. Imagine Jungkook walking the Calvin Klein runway or attending the brand's showcase, only to drop hints or even an announcement about a solo tour. The cross-industry momentum would be enormous, ensuring headlines not just in fashion media, but across the music industry as well. One of the most pressing questions fans are asking is, when will HYBE confirm anything? The company has been notably silent, releasing no official statements about either the Calvin Klein event or the rumored solo tour. This silence is not unusual for HYBE, which often maintains secrecy until the very last moment to maximize impact. However, the absence of confirmation has only increased speculation. HYBE's strategy is often to allow viral speculation to build anticipation before issuing official confirmation. The current situation with Jungkook fits this pattern perfectly. By letting social media drive the conversation, HYBE ensures that by the time any announcement is made, whether about Calvin Klein, the solo tour, or both, the public is already deeply invested. This lack of clarity, however, has also left fans in a state of restless excitement. The uncertainty is fueling countless theories, from Jungkook rehearsing in secret studios to Calvin Klein possibly integrating music elements into its Fashion Week presentation. Every possibility remains on the table. The international press has seized upon this moment, with coverage spanning both fashion and music outlets. Fashion-focused media emphasize Jungkook's Calvin Klein ties, highlighting how he has become a defining figure for the brand in Asia and beyond. Meanwhile, music-focused outlets are speculating about the tour, drawing comparisons to other solo artists who launched global tours shortly after successful album releases. Interestingly, even mainstream global outlets are framing Jungkook's trip as an intersection of two industries. Rather than treating it as a standard celebrity appearance at Fashion Week, they are contextualizing it within the larger narrative of his evolving solo career. This reflects Jungkook's unusual position as a cultural figure who transcends traditional categories. For ARMY, Jungkook's every move carries emotional weight. His departure from Korea to New York was live-streamed, with fans tracking his flight in real time. Social media platforms exploded with hashtags about his arrival, his outfit, and of course, the possible meaning behind the trip. The emotional undercurrent here is tied to two things: the pride of seeing Jungkook succeed globally, and the longing for concrete confirmation about what he is working on. The possibility of a solo tour holds especially deep meaning for fans. For many, it represents the chance to see Jungkook's artistry in its purest form, unfiltered by the dynamics of group performances. The tour would mark a new chapter in his career, one that fans have been waiting to experience firsthand. At the same time, his connection to Calvin Klein reinforces the idea that Jungkook is not just a musician, but a global cultural icon. The two narratives together amplify the stakes of this New York trip. With this track record, it would not be unusual for Jungkook's trip to New York to serve dual purposes that HYBE will confirm later. This approach allows fans and media to speculate freely, ensuring that by the time HYBE issues a statement, anticipation is already at a fever pitch. For fans, the silence from HYBE has created an emotional paradox. On one hand, the absence of confirmation fuels excitement. Every detail becomes a puzzle piece, every rumor a potential clue. On the other hand, the uncertainty can be frustrating, especially for international fans who need time to plan if a tour is indeed coming. This emotional tension is not accidental, it is part of the marketing dynamic. By withholding confirmation, HYBE ensures that when the truth is revealed, the payoff feels more significant. But for ARMY, the waiting is both exhilarating and exhausting. Journalists and cultural critics have begun to frame Jungkook's New York trip as a dual-project narrative, emphasizing the idea that his role as a fashion ambassador and a solo artist are no longer separate. Instead, they reinforce each other. Fashion journalists highlight how Jungkook's presence elevates Calvin Klein's Fashion Week showcase into a global event. Music critics argue that a solo tour is inevitable, and that using New York as the launchpad would maximize global attention. Mainstream outlets focus on the collision of these two worlds, presenting Jungkook as a case study in the merging of entertainment industries. The framing suggests that Jungkook is not just working on two separate projects, but rather building a holistic global identity where fashion and music are integrated. As Jungkook's stay in New York unfolds, fans are closely monitoring several potential indicators. Behind-the-scenes leaks, photos of rehearsal studios, tour staff, or venue visits could provide hints about the solo tour. Fashion Week presence. Whether Jungkook walks the runway, sits front row, or appears in a Calvin Klein campaign, his role will be closely scrutinized for hidden clues. Social media activity. Both Jungkook's own updates and Calvin Klein's posts are being analyzed for potential hints. Sudden announcements. HYBE could drop a teaser video, press release, or even a live broadcast confirming either or both projects. The atmosphere is one of heightened anticipation, where every small action is magnified into a possible revelation. Timing is critical in this discussion. Calvin Klein's Fashion Week showcase takes place on September 12, 2025. If HYBE were to announce a solo tour around the same time, the media cycle would be explosive. Coverage of Jungkook at Fashion Week would naturally bleed into coverage of his music, creating a seamless narrative of cultural dominance. Furthermore, announcing a tour in September aligns with industry schedules. Many artists reveal tour plans in the fall to prepare for spring and summer runs the following year. If Jungkook follows this model, a September announcement would be both timely and strategic. What makes this moment so captivating is the scale of its implications. A Calvin Klein showcase alone would be enough to generate headlines. A solo tour announcement would also dominate the music industry news cycle. But the possibility of both happening in the same trip elevates the stakes dramatically. If confirmed, this dual project moment could redefine solo stardom. Jungkook would be positioned not just as a successful soloist, but as an artist capable of anchoring both fashion and music simultaneously. Shift industry dynamics. Other K-pop and global pop artists may attempt to replicate this cross-industry strategy, signaling a new era of integrated cultural marketing. Solidify global legacy. For ARMY, the moment would symbolize Jungkook's transition from rising solo star to established global icon.